Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I will not talk about jerseys. Today it's about players. I may have already mentioned before, if not I'm doing it now. I live in Munich, Germany, but I am originally from Landshut. That's about 70 kilometers in the northeast of Munich. Our hometown hockey club is the EV Landshut, the EVL. And the club was national champion here in Germany twice. That was in 1970 and in 1983. Then they played for a long time in the first division, Bundesliga, when then this turned into the DEL. And they were a founding member of the DEL. And then they went bankrupt. Had to go back to the third division, then now are playing back in the second division. But they are mainly an educational club for young players. They are developing players like they do in the CHL and the US national program. Here in Europe, especially in Germany, this is not done by national organizations but by local clubs. And some players of my hometown club made it to the NHL. I will have a look today at 3 players that are from the Landshut area, learned to play hockey with the EV Landshut, and later on ended to play in the NHL. And thereafter I will have a look at 3 former NHL players that played for the EV Landshut. But we'll come to that later. Now let's start with the young guys. The first player I want to talk about learned to play hockey with the EV Landshut. His father is a legend of the EV Landshut. He was born January 1992, played with the junior teams and then with the regular team until the year 2010. Then went to the CHL in the draft, was drafted 24th overall in the import draft by the London Knights, and drafted in 2010, 110th overall with the Pittsburgh Penguins. The guy who was born in Landshut. Tom Kühnhackl. His father, Erich Kühnhackl, legend, member of both championship teams of the EV Landshut, and his son is a good player as well. He played in the NHL, first he started in the CHL, playing with Windsor and with Niagara. Then after being drafted by Pittsburgh, they sent him of course to Wilkes-Barre Scranton, and he started playing for the Penguins in the 2015-2016 season and played with the Penguins until summer of 2018. Then he spent 2 years with the Islanders. The 2021 season he played only for the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, so the AHL affiliate of the Islanders. His NHL totals: 232 regular season games played, 18 goals, 36 assists for 54 points. This does not include the playoffs. In the playoffs he played 58 games, 3 goals, 8 assists, 11 points, and he is a 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2016 and in 2017. The second former Landshut player who was also born in Landshut I want to talk about now is a guy. He was born in January 1993 in Landshut, played with the EVL, with the youth and with the first team until 2010, was drafted 5th overall by the CHL import draft by Kitchener, and then was drafted in 2011 114th overall by the Edmonton Oilers. Tobias Rieder. Toby Rieder. In his time at the NHL, he played for the Arizona Coyotes for 4 years. Then in 2018 was traded to LA, then played a season for the Oilers, a season for the Calgary Flames, and the 2021 season he spent with the Buffalo Sabres. In his career, 478 games played, 64 goals, 81 assists for 145 points. Not bad. Now he's known as a depth guy, as a penalty killer, as a good short-handed scorer. He's still doing very well. I would be very surprised if he would not find a job for next season in the NHL. In the playoffs, he had only 14 games played because he did not play with that many good teams. 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points. And he's the current pride of Landshut. So the third player I want to talk about who learned to play hockey with the EV Landshut is scoring-wise the most successful. Winning-wise, Tom Kühnhackl with his 2 Stanley Cups, okay, the player I want to mention now cannot reach there. He never won a Stanley Cup. He was born in Dingolfing, which is 25 kilometers east of Landshut. Learned to play hockey at the EVL, played in the youth, and played with the first team between 1995 and 1997. Drafted 1996, 21st overall, so he was a first-round pick by the San Jose Sharks. Marco Sturm. Yeah, he was also youth of the EV Landshut. He played for the Sharks between 1997 and 2005 and then was traded. He was traded to the Boston Bruins together with 2 other players, but he was the one that lasted longest and most successful for the Bruins in the trade for Joe Thornton. Yeah, Marco Sturm, the guy from Landshut, was traded for Joe Thornton. Yeah, he played with the Bruins from 2005 until 2010, then had brief stints with the Kings, with the Washington Capitals, with the Vancouver Canucks, and the Florida Panthers. Altogether, 938 games played, 242 goals, 245 assists for 487 points in the regular season. In the playoffs, Marco played 68 games, had 9 goals, 13 assists for 22 points. And he was, now I have to say he was, the best German-born scorer in the NHL until it was May 2021, when he was passed by a guy named, I'm sure you heard the name, Leon Draisaitl. Until Draisaitl passed him this year, so about 1.5, 2 months ago. Marco was the most successful scorer born in Germany in the NHL. And now the second part of the video, where I will talk about guys that played in the NHL first and then came to Landshut. I want to mention here 3 guys as well. So, let's start right off. The first one played in the NHL for Pittsburgh for a long time, from 1981 to 1986. Then he went for 2 seasons to the Calgary Flames. He had 2 seasons in Philadelphia and 1 more season with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Then he continued playing in Switzerland before he then came to Landshut. In the NHL, his most successful season was the 1983-84 season, where he scored for the tanking Pittsburgh Penguins 51 goals, 41 assists for 92 points. He's a 50-goal scorer. It was the 80s, but yeah, he was a 50-goal scorer. And of course, I'm talking about Mike Bullard. He played for the EV Landshut in the times where they played in the DEL from 1993 until 1998. In this 5 seasons, he played in 224 games, had 119 goals, 185 assists, for 304 points. That's not bad. In the playoffs, he had 43 games played, 31 goals, 26 assists for 57 points in 43 playoff games. That's impressive. His most impressive playoff run with Landshut was in the 94-95 season when they reached the finals. They lost, but they reached the finals. In 18 games, he had 17 goals, 10 assists for 27 points. Not bad. The second player on this list of former NHL players that played for the EV Landshut is a guy who played in the NHL for the Washington Capitals starting in 1984, then spent 6 seasons with the Hartford Whalers between 1985 and 1991, then played for the San Jose Sharks, for the Dallas Stars and for the Calgary Flames, then traveled around a little bit and finally came to Landshut where he played the final 2 seasons of his career. He won the gold medal at the World Championship 1997, and after this World Championship he signed with the EV Landshut. Today you know him as a coach. Dean Emerson, the head coach of the Minnesota Wild. He played for the EV Landshut. For 2 years he had only 87 games played. He had 21 goals, 47 assists for 68 points. In the playoffs, 9 games played and 4 assists, as they made the playoffs only once. And don't wonder about the low numbers of games played. In Germany, a regular season is between 40 and 52 games. They almost played all the time. I think at Everson's time there were 13 teams in the league, so 48 games regular season. He played 87 in 2 years. For a player in the very late stages of his career, that's fine. Of course, now he is the head coach of the Minnesota Wild, as mentioned, but he has a history with the EV Landshut. And third and final player I want to mention that this list is not complete. There were more players from Landshut went to NHL, and of course more players from the NHL went to Landshut in the later stages of their career, but I wanted to concentrate only on 3 players. The video will be long enough. The final player I want to mention is a Hall of Famer. Hall of Fame class in 2012. In the NHL, he played for the Vancouver Canucks between 1991 and 1999, then spent 3 seasons in Florida and 1 with the New York Rangers. His NHL stat line is 702 games played, 437 goals, 342 assists for 779 points. Playoffs, 64 games, 35 goals, 35 assists, 70 points. Appearance in the Stanley Cup Final 1994 with the Vancouver Canucks. And this is the Russian Rocket. Pavel Bure played for the EV Landshut. During the lockout 94-95, he played only 1 game and had 3 goals. In this 1 game, he was at his prime of the time. It was absolutely lucky for the EV Landshut that Pavel Bure decided to play for this club only for 1 game, but he played with the EV Landshut. And if I ever see on eBay an EV Landshut jersey with Pavel Bure, it will not be number 10, because number 10 was taken at this time by Eduard Uvira. So he reversed the numbers, he played with a 0-1. If I ever find this jersey on eBay, I would pay an arm and a leg to get it. And this would be fantastic. Unfortunately, I don't think this will happen, but who knows? So that's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. My video about EV Landshut players made it to the NHL and NHL players that came to the EV Landshut. Let's see what hockey talk I will come up next, but there will be something, be sure. Until then, see you, goodbye.